Hey guys, we are back with yet another interesting video. Today, we will make sure that you have some fun and learn something new. As always, all the videos and playlists can be found on our YouTube channel. We'll be uploading multiple videos every week, so smash the like button, subscribe to our channel and keep commenting your thoughts down below. In today's video, we will be talking about the legendary Titanic machine learning competition of Kaggle. This is the best and the first challenge for you to dive into all sorts of machine learning competitions. But here in this video, we will not be talking about the machine learning concept. We will be talking about the exploratory data analysis and also how do we clean data using Excel. So let us understand what exactly is the Kaggle machine learning challenge of Titanic. So in this tutorial series, we will basically ask multiple questions on predictive analysis. Some of the questions revolve around what sorts of people were more likely to survive. Was it something because of their names, their age, their gender, their social economic status, and so on. Alright, so let's begin by understanding the data first. The data is described usually by a data dictionary. The data dictionary is a set of information that describes the contents of every particular column. So let's open the Excel and see what's in the data. Firstly, every row in the data contains unique passenger information. The passenger ID column represents the unique identifier for each passenger. It means that every row signifies one passenger. The next row will signify a different passenger. Now, the second column is the survived column. It means whether that passenger has survived or not, where 0 indicates no and 1 indicates yes. By yes, it means that the passenger has survived. Alright, so let's move on to the third column, which is the P class column. The P class indicates the ticket class of the passenger. 1 is equals to the upper class, 2 is equals to the middle class, and 3 is equals to the lower class. So these are three different categories of the passenger class. The next column is the name column. It basically signifies the name of the passenger who is on the ship. Next is the sex column, which determines the gender of the passenger. It should be male or female. Next is the age of the passenger, which is again self-understanding. The next column is the SIB SP column. It means that how many number of siblings or spouses are aboard on the Titanic. Now, what we mean by that? We mean that if there is one passenger, there must be some other siblings or spouses of that passenger on the ship. So this column indicates that. Now let's say I am a person, I'm on the Titanic, but I have 2 siblings and 1 spouse along with me. So the column here would indicate 3 for me as a passenger. Next is the PARCH column. It indicates the number of parents or children aboard the Titanic. Now let's say I have my parents as well as my 2 children. So this column will again indicate 4. 2 for parents and 2 for children. So that's the parents and children column. Next is the ticket. So it basically indicates the unique ticket number of the passenger. It is basically the PNR of the IRCTC. It is a unique identifier of the ticket. Next is the fare, which is basically just the ticket amount or the passenger fare. Next we come to the cabin column. The cabin column is just the cabin number of the passenger, in which cabin he is into. It can be B1, B2, B3 or so on. Embarked. What is the embarked column? So it is basically the port of embarkation of the passenger. For example, let's say I boarded from New Delhi station, so my embarked value would be New Delhi. Now in this particular data, we have 3 ports of embarkation. So basically we have 3 stations where Titanic has boarded their passengers from. One indicates C, which is Cherbourg. The next value is Q, which indicates Queenstown. The next value is S, that is Southampton. So these are the 3 ports where Titanic ship has boarded their passengers from. As a first part of the data cleaning exercise, we will now understand and see how to calculate the null values in Excel. Now, in this particular data, if we want to calculate the null values of every column, let's say we want to begin by calculating the null values in passenger ID, then following it up with survived column, and then till the last column, that is embarked. So let's just copy the column headers from here and paste the values in another tab. Let's do it here. Now, to calculate the null values, we need to understand that it can be done using a very basic Excel function, that is the count blank function. Now, if you haven't studied about the count blank function, we recommend you to take a look at the Excel beginners tutorial playlist series that's flashing on the top above, and also look at the keyboard shortcuts which will actually prove helpful to select a range of cells and also switch between tabs. Alright, so let's begin by first writing the count blank function. Now, if we want to calculate the count blank values in the passenger ID column, so let's go to the passenger ID column and select from cell A2 and press Ctrl Shift down arrow to immediately select till the bottom. Now, this is again a keyboard shortcut which you can learn through the Excel tutorial for beginners playlist series, and that is the very first video of the playlist series to understand the shortcuts in Excel. Now, after selecting this range, press enter. Now we see that the number of blanks in the range A2 till A892, the number of blanks are 0. Similarly, we can do the same for survived column. So let's press count blank, and now currently we are at the bottom of the data in Excel. Now just press anywhere in the Excel sheet and press Ctrl top arrow to immediately scroll to the top. Now again, you could have immediately scrolled to the top using the mouse and the scroll bar here which is present in the right, but again this is a very easy keyboard shortcut and helps you smoothen the process in Excel. Now again, after you have reached the top, we need to select the same data range. Now the data range will again not start from the cell B1, it will start from B2 because the data starts from there. Again, press Ctrl Shift down arrow to select the whole data till the range 892, press enter. We see that again the number of blanks or the null values in survived column are 0. Now we can definitely do the same manual process for all the columns. Column C, column D, all the way till column L. But we do not want to do that. Hence, Excel has provided a very simple and reproducible functionality. Excel is really smart. What we can do is just drag the formula till the right. Now, how do we confirm that the formulae have been dragged correctly and they have been reproduced properly? Now, in column C, for the passenger class, the selected range is from C2 till C892. For column name, the range is column D. For sex column, it is column E, and so on. Now, interestingly, we see that there are only 3 columns out of a total of 5 plus 5, 13 columns where there are null values, and most importantly the age column and the cabin column have a lot of null values present in the data. Now it is not very easy to understand when the data or the count of null values is in numbers. It's better to now understand the percentage of null values that is present, right? Now to calculate the percentage of null values, the simple basic formula would be the number of null values upon the total number of rows in the data, right? To calculate the total number of rows in the data, what we can do is just go on and perform a count function. So the count function can be done on any column. It is preferable to perform the count function on the ID column always, because that is the unique identifier, and we would like to perform the count function on the unique ID column always. So again, press Ctrl Shift down arrow to select the whole range and press enter. Now, here we use only the count function and not the count blank function. So this has provided the total number of rows in the data. Now this value is fixed. Now to calculate the percentage of null values of every column, what we need to do is set again the number of null values of that particular column upon the total number of rows present in the data. So that would be is equals to, for the passenger ID column, it would be the number of null values which is present in cell A4 upon the total number of rows which is present in cell D6. Just press enter. Now here we cannot drag it till the right because the numerator will definitely move accordingly, which is the cell A4, but the denominator is D6. Now let's just drag it to the right and see how it can change. Now we see that let's understand this formula. Now this says that the numerator is B4, which is perfectly fine, but the denominator has now shifted to E6, which is not the case. The denominator has to be fixed at D6. So what we can do for that is, in the initial cell, let's fix the denominator by pressing the F4 key. So what this does is it introduces dollar values in front of the column and also in front of the row. So there are 4 types of fixing values. So this is the double fixer, which means that the column is also fixed and the row is also fixed. Now let's again press the F4 key to see the next type of fixing. Now this is the next fixing option, which means that the column is not fixed because the dollar value is not present in front of the column value. It is only present in front of the row value. Let's again press the F4 key. Now this is just the opposite. Now the column is fixed while the row is not fixed. Now the next value is this, which means that nothing is fixed. The column D is also not fixed and the row number 6 is also not fixed. So what we want is we want to fix both the values. We want to fix the column as well as the row. Now let's press enter. Now the value has definitely not changed for this particular cell, but this will improve the results of all the other cells. Now let's check. So for the percentage of survived column of the null values in survived column is value B4, which is perfectly fine, the number of null values in survived column, upon D6. It has remained fixed, which is 891. Again, the numerator is C4, but the denominator is fixed. The numerator is changed, but the denominator is fixed, and so on. So now we can see that the age column has somewhere around 20% of null values present, while the cabin column has 77% of null values. What do we understand by this? Now, null values it plays a very important part in data analysis. Now, since there are a lot of null values in the data, we can fill these null values by multiple parameters. We can fill null values by mean of the column. We can also fill it up by median of the column and also sometimes by mode of the column. But if the null values percentage is so high, it's somewhere around 77%, do you think that it would be feasible to fill 77% of the null values by mean, median and mode? Don't you think that this would hamper the data quality a lot? Any user would want that, or any machine learning or data science person would want that. The minimum the data cleaning process, the better is the data. So you do not want to play around with the data a lot so that you decrease the quality of the data. So if the cabin column has a lot of null values, which means that you have 77% of null values, it is better to actually ignore the column rather than stress yourself about filling the null values with mean, median and mode, because filling those up with mean, median and mode will actually not make a lot of sense. It may make some sense, but it may most probably not make a lot of sense. But at the same time, in the age column, it is actually sensible to fill up the remaining 20% of the null values by mean or median. but it is not definite compulsory that you have to fill it up only by mean or median. So these are only the beginners level data computing or data fill up techniques where you can fill it up by mean or median, but you can also definitely fill it up by other values also. That actually reflects the data a lot better. So currently this is all about the data cleaning step. Now the data cleaning step has the null value computation firstly, where we calculated the number of null values present in each and every column. Secondly, we also calculated the percentage of null values that are present in each and every column. With percentage analysis, we can better understand that what values or what columns should be filled up and what columns should not be filled up. For example, again, the Kevin column should not be filled up because the null values are a lot. They are in 77% amount, which is very high. We should not fill up those null values, while H column, the null value percentage is only 20% and we can fill those up. After calculating the null value count and the null value percentage, it is now important to fill those null values with either the mean or the median for a beginner level analysis. So let's first do it for the age column. So let's go to the train tab and find the age column. So we have the age column right here. So for easier understanding, let's just hide some columns. So let's press Alt, H, O, U and C. So this will hide certain number of columns. And now let us start finding the mean and median of the age column. So what is the mean? The mean is basically the average. And now what is the range? Now to select the range, again, just press Ctrl Shift down arrow. Now this will take you to the bottom, but now it will not take you to the bottom of the last row. Since there are blank values in the data range of the age column, it will take you till the last row where the next cell is a blank value. Now keep pressing the Ctrl Shift down arrow till you reach till the bottom. Keep pressing it till you reach till the bottom, that is the row number 892. As there are a lot of null values, it keeps stopping wherever it finds the next blank cell. Alright, so after selecting the data range, we have calculated the average. Now let's calculate the median. To calculate the median, let's do the same. Now since I remember the range, I will just enter F2 till F892. That's the actual data range, and hence now we find out that this is the mean of the age column in cell number N2, which is 29.6, and the median of the age column is 28. Now we can fill this up using anything. We can fill the blank values or the null values using mean or the median. Anything would be good. So let's now fill up the age column. So to fill up the age column, let's first write a new column called as age new, and we'll start building up the logic to how we fill up the age column. So basically what we want to do is fill up only the blank values with either the mean or the median, and if the value is already present in the age column, then we'll keep those values as intact, right? So we will be starting with building up the if logic. Now if the value in the age column is blank, if it is blank, then we will fill that up with the median. And since median is also a fixed value, we will fix this cell by pressing the F4 key. And now if this value is not blank, then we would want to keep the same value intact. Press enter. Now we got that the value is 22. Now since the value here was 22 and not blank, it did not get filled up by the median. let's drag it till a few cells bottom so that we can study this particular value. Now this value is blank in the age column but is now filled up here by the value 28. The value 28 is the median, and this is how we can fill up the blank values. Again, let's go till the bottom so that the values can be filled up. Now we can study any particular value. Now let's again study this particular blank value. The blank value is present here, but at the same time we see that the corresponding non-blank value filled up by our own logic is 28, which is the median. And this is how you can fill up the missing values in the data. After filling up the missing values for the age column, we can also do the same for the cabin column and the embark column. But like I said that since the percentage of missing values in the cabin column is greater than 75%, I think it would not be very feasible to fill up the missing values in the cabin column. Rather, it would be better to drop the whole cabin column and move on by filling up the missing values in the embark column, which can again be done by using the mode function, because embarked column is a categorical column and it has only 3 values, which was C, Q and S. Now out of the values C, Q and S, you cannot find out the mean and median because these are not numerical data and you cannot find out the average of such values or the median of such values. What you can do is just calculate the mode of such values, and using the same if logic that we discussed for the age column, we can fill up the missing values in the embark column, but not by mean or median, but using the mode function. I hope you liked watching this video. Please hit the like button. Do not forget to share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.